Hello everyone and welcome to our presentation today, Document Management for Accounts Receivable. My name is Angela Doolittle and I'm the Product Manager for ACOM Solutions. This presentation is the third in a series of document management webinars that we're hosting. Last month we presented Document Management for AP. We'll do a quick recap of the first webinar, which was Document Management, What's in it for you. Then we'll take a look at AR documents and document flow. Then we'll look at how document management is being applied to AR applications. So in other words, how's it being used and what's possible. Lastly, I'll answer some questions at the very end that have been asked throughout the webcast. So let's start with the definition of document management. Document management is not just about scanning and capturing copies of AR checks. There's really much more that can be accomplished to optimize the entire accounts receivable process. In a few words, document management is the technologies, tools, and processes to capture, manage, store, and deliver documents across the enterprise. So let's start by taking a look at the document types that we commonly encounter. Let's begin our recap by taking a look at the document types that we'll be dealing with from a technology perspective. We generally consider these to be content, but we'll keep the focus on AR-related documents. First, we have text documents, which are your author-generated, manually created documents. These could be such things as letters, correspondence, inquiries, emails, anything that's author-generated. Then we have your data types or your system-generated documents. And these are typically batch process documents like invoices, shipping documents, packing slips, anything that is generated from your system. And lastly, we have image type documents. Typically, these are paper-based, and they're things like faxes. An example might be an inbound purchase order that was faxed to you or an inbound sales order. So why are we looking at them from a technology standpoint? Basically because there are different requirements for capturing and managing documents and content based on their document type. So why are organizations investing in document management solutions? Well, there are many business benefits that we can talk about. First, let's talk about some cost benefits. Managing documents electronically is more efficient and cost effective. You eliminate paper, and then the process automation can be introduced here. Then you have your customer support benefits. Inquiries can be handled quickly and efficiently, calls back can be eliminated, you can gain improved service to customers and vendors this way. So think about the ability to handle a customer inquiry by electronically searching for an image of a check and emailing a copy to confirm that the payment was made. Contrast that process with the manual steps of having to retrieve the paper copy from a filing cabinet and then send that either by snail mail or faxing it to the customer. Also, risk reduction is key. You gain tighter security and audit trails, better compliance with regulations like SOX, HIPAA, etc., and then you have better backup and recovery in the event of a disaster. Let's take a look at the document flow for accounts receivable. Your basic process might include receiving an inbound purchase order, shipping an outbound advance notice of goods, as well as an outbound invoice, and then you receive a check for payment of the invoice or multiple invoices. Each of these has to be managed, and we'll talk about how we can accomplish that. So let's look at the overall process. For the seller, this process might look very similar to this. First, we have the inbound process of receiving the order. Then we have the outbound process of distributing the shipping notice and invoice. And then we have the inbound process of receipt of payment. So let's say you receive an inbound purchase order and or a sales agreement. This can come in via the fax, by snail mail, or maybe by email. Someone then has to manually enter that PO into an ERP or an accounting system and then create a temporary physical file that will be used in a physical filing cabinet. Copies are usually made and then distributed to key stakeholders. So then an advanced shipping notice is created along with any other shipping documents, and then those are all distributed. An invoice must be created and that's got to be distributed as well. All of these are usually stored as physical copies in the same temporary file. Someone will then manage any collection calls and disputes, and they're going to have to refer to that physical file that was created that contains all the copies. The next step in the process deals with the receipt of payment for goods. So typically the seller receives a check for one or many invoices that were sent. And then this has to be manually entered into an ERP system, and then the check must be reconciled with the invoice or invoices. Usually then copies are made of the check and remittance, and they're added to that physical temporary file, and then the temporary file is moved to a permanent location like a filing cabinet. So almost everything along the way is paper-based and manual in process. So then what are the limitations to the process based on what you just saw? Overall, some of the limitations and concerns are having to deal with a paper-based system that lends itself to user error, manually having to copy and distribute the documents is time-consuming. Without electronic interchange and distribution, there could be slow processing times for approvals. You deal with loss and misfiled documents. Security of the paper-based documents is always very important. In the event of a disaster, you've lost your backup for, let's say, insurance and adjusters. Improving your DSO, or your days sales outstanding, is also very important. And then paper documents lend themselves to inefficient collection processes. If we talk about some strategies to improve the AR process, we're basically talking about the ability to store the whole transaction history in one central location. So to do this, you want to be able to convert paper documents into electronic formats whenever possible. Capturing and indexing inbound, outbound, and internal documents will aid in searching for documents quickly. Routing and approval of documents electronically helps to streamline the whole process. Storing documents in one central location helps to eliminate silos of information, and it also aids in disaster recovery efforts. Again, the whole transaction history is saved in one central location. So you give stakeholders the ability to access critical documents as needed, and you also give employees quick access to the documents as needed for things like collection efforts, and therefore that reduces your DSO. So let's talk about how to apply document management technology to the AR process and how it can eliminate and improve productivity. Eliminate steps. We talk about the receipt of the purchase order and how there are some manual steps and paper trails associated with this process. Here you can see that a sales order desk receives the purchase order, and then they've got to manually enter this into the ERP application. So this is manual data entry. They need to create a temporary file, and this is the temporary physical file that goes in the filing cabinet. They've also got to photocopy and distribute copies to key stakeholders. So these key stakeholders are typically the people who need to fulfill the order. So a copy may go to the warehouse to ship the products or goods, and then any services that need to be rendered as well, they may receive a copy. Now with a document management system, as you can see, you can eliminate a lot of the paper and manual steps simply by creating electronic documents, electronically distributing them and storing them for future reference and reconciliation. This helps to eliminate the paper as well as manual routing and distribution of the documents. Shown here, you can see the electronic document flow that we just mentioned. If we apply document management technology, this is what the process might look like. So data entry functions stay the same, but now you can scan in the inbound documents instead of photocopying them, and then have them stored and indexed in the document management system. So any key stakeholders get email notifications, they can access them with appropriate controls when and if needed. And then the new process is definitely going to be more efficient because you're not having to deal with those paper copies floating around everywhere. So now we move on to the outbound documents. This is an internal process where the documents have been created or have to be created, generated, and distributed, and copies are made for that physical temporary file that we talked about. As you can see here, typically the document flow is this. The accounting department creates the shipping documents and invoices, enters them into an ERP application. Then they get printed, copies get stored in the physical temporary file where all the original documents are stored, so the PO, the sales order, and then they're either mailed, faxed, or emailed to the buyer. Also, the collections department may receive copies of the documents in order to collect on any monies that are due. We can eliminate a lot of the manual processes involved here, including the paper and the manual routing. So you no longer need to create the photocopies of these documents, and you have the flexibility to distribute them electronically. This is what the step might look like automated. Again, the internal processes would stay the same in that the accounting department would still need to enter the data to generate the invoice and outbound documents. But then the documents are stored electronically, they're indexed, and they're all in one central location. So from here, the customer can receive electronic notification of that invoice, as well as any shipping documents, in the way that they want to receive it based on their preference. The warehouse can also access the bill of lading and the shipping notices when and if they need to. And the collections department can now access the electronic documents as they need it. So they may be calling and requesting payment, and now they can search electronically for the document and email that immediately instead of having to search for them in a filing cabinet. So here, no physical copies are required. Now let's take a look at the last part of the process, which is the receipt of payment. For receivables in most organizations, typically there's a separate person that's going to be receiving the payment who has to enter the data into the ERP application. They also will need to deposit funds into the bank and then make copies for that temporary physical file that we talked about, and then reconcile the check remittance with the invoice or multiple invoices. We can eliminate here most of the photocopying and manual distribution of those copies simply by adding a document management system. In this process, when the check and remittance detail are received, they can be scanned and then they're imported and indexed into the document management system. Now you have the whole transaction history in one central location. The purchase order, the bill of lading, the invoice, the checks, all these are in one physical location. Tasks like reconciliation can be done electronically right from here. So some other advantages, you've got some backup and disaster recovery efforts that may need to take place. Everything's in one central location, so you have a very good way of getting those documents. And then you have retention policies that you can set on specific documents if you need to keep those for X amount of days or X amount of years. And everything, again, is in one central location. So in summary, all paper-based documents can be converted to electronic forms. System-generated documents, they can be auto-captured, they can be auto-indexed, all allowing for easy retrieval. Documents can be routed and approved and accessed electronically. You can store the whole transaction history in one central location. And then automating these processes provides key stakeholders with access to the critical documents that they need when and if needed, and very quickly. You can also maintain backups for auditing purposes, and then you know that your documents are going to be safe and secure. So if you recall the slide that we talked about documents from a technology perspective, in the whole accounts receivable process, you're dealing with different document types that need to be captured electronically. The good news is that this process has become much more efficient, and you can perform additional critical business functions all at the same time. So basically, your capture layer can do much more than just capture and index documents. So let's take a look at that on the screen. On the left-hand side here, so you may have your inbound image type paper documents that need to be captured. So scanners can be useful here. They can capture the documents, they can index them, and then they can all be stored in one central repository. System-generated documents like the outbound invoices or the advanced shipping notice, those can and should be automatically captured and auto-indexed. So tools do exist to convert pre-printed documents into electronic templates with data mapping, and we'll talk about that in just a minute. Then you have text-based documents. These are things like emails, maybe some correspondence that could be in a Word document. These can be captured and stored as well, and this completes the whole transaction history. So all of this can be accomplished with a solution like Easy Content Manager, and I'm going to show you a little bit about that product right now. When we talked about inbound purchase orders, we can scan and capture them into Easy Content Manager and then place them into an electronic folder without having to make the physical copy and physical temporary file that we discussed. In this screenshot here, what I'm showing you is a purchase order that's been scanned and uploaded into Easy Content Manager, and it's in a folder labeled with the PO number. So from here on out, all associated documents are going to be uploaded into the same folder. The good news about Easy Content Manager is it's completely web-based. There are no client tools that need to be installed on individual PCs. So any customer service reps that need to access this can access it from a simple web browser. So now let's take a look at the system-generated documents. We can help you convert your paper-based documents into electronic templates that look like this, and then we can map the data to the document. And here you can see what might be your final result. So it's a fully populated system-generated invoice that can now be auto-distributed, auto-captured, and auto-indexed into that one central repository. So there's a huge advantage here. Think about the cost savings of automatically generating the documents here and distributing them, as well as saving them in one central location for future reference. When we're talking about those system-generated documents, once they're created, they can be distributed in either paper format or electronic format, but we're talking about electronic formats here. So one of the benefits of recent document management systems is that the capture layer can do so much more than just document capture. In this case, the same tool that's capturing and indexing the documents, such as the invoices and the shipping documents, can also distribute them electronically for you via email, via fax, or directly into Easy Content Manager. So here's a screenshot showing you that the invoice, number 155789, as it's captured and auto-indexed and automatically imported into Easy Content Manager. And you can see it's in the same folder as that purchase order that it's referring to. So for the final step of the process, we've received a check and it's got remittance, and we can scan that document for storage in our central repository. We can automatically capture indices from this scan check. We can automatically import it into the same electronic folder as the invoice that it's reconciled with, as well as the original PO for the goods. So now we have all the relevant information for this one process in one electronic folder. So we've been able to eliminate all the photocopies that we would have had to have made, and then all the physical files that would need to be in a physical filing cabinet. Now these are all stored electronically in the one central repository. So for customer service reps or collection agents, if they need to search for any one of these documents to assist in a call, all they simply do is search by an index field or by full text search, and then they can retrieve all the documents that are part of the transaction on one screen. And then they can assist the customer right then and there, so they don't have to leave their desk and go look it all up in a physical filing cabinet, which may take them a good bit of time. Let's say a customer calls and needs a copy of an invoice resent to them. The customer service rep can be on the phone with that customer and forward the invoice that was previously sent right here from within Easy Content Manager. So they no longer need to get up from their desk, find the file in the filing cabinet, and then fax that or scan that document and email it from like a multifunction printer. They can do it right from here just by searching for the document, keying in the email address that it needs to go to, and then you can choose to, let's say it's a Word document, you can convert it to PDF upon sending it. So the customer then gets a PDF version of that document. So in summary, there are multiple ways to get your content or documents into this one central repository of Easy Content Manager. This will accommodate your different document types, including the text, data, and image types that we talked about. You can scan your documents like the inbound purchase orders and inbound remittance checks, and you can automatically upload those into Easy Content Manager. One of the biggest advantages to our solution is our direct integration between our document output modules like Easy eDocs 400. So these are for system generated documents on the System I. And these would be anything like invoices, advanced shipping notices, anything that you're outputting. We can automatically capture that, index it, and store it in Easy Content Manager with really no manual effort involved. Our import utility sits alongside your server and automatically monitors your network drives for documents to upload into Easy Content Manager in batch. So again, no manual intervention here. We just monitor any network folders that you'd like to monitor, and we grab those documents and automatically import them. You can also manually import documents into Easy Content Manager, and that's done via the user interface. And then you can also utilize our Microsoft WebDAV protocol, and what this does is provides you with a drag and drop functionality from folders that may be on your hard drive or on your network directly into Easy Content Manager with all the rights and privileges associated with those folders in Easy Content Manager. You can also utilize our Easy Imager and Workstation module, and what this does is it allows you to create zone templates of, let's call them structured documents that are scanned. You retrieve the indices from those documents, and then they're automatically uploaded into Easy Content Manager. So as you can see, our solutions are completely integrated, allowing you multiple avenues of getting your content into that one central repository. So in summary, there is definitely a growing interest in document management technology to manage, store, and capture all types of documents. The AR process is an ideal application for such technology for reasons such as increased productivity, lowering costs, and reducing risks. Any successful solution will require the ability to capture a full range of document types, provide electronic management and distribution, as well as routing and approval processes. When you're selecting a solution for document management, look for such things as integration, robust capture layers for existing tools and applications, tools that will help you transition from paper documents to electronic documents, and also a vendor that understands the AR process. When you're looking to automate your AR business process, ask a few of these questions. Can the invoice generation and distribution be automated? Does the solution help me address customer service needs? And what security layers are offered? Once you keep all this in mind and answer these questions, you should be on your way to automating your existing processes, increasing productivity, and above all else, managing your documents effectively, securely, and efficiently. So this concludes our webcast today. Here's our contact information if we can answer any questions directly related to your processes, or if you'd like additional information, even on any of the webinars that we've hosted, or if you'd like to just hear more about our products. I'm going to answer a few questions that were posed in the last webcast in regards to the products. One of them is being able to upload mass invoices from the System I without any manual intervention. And actually this process is very simple. All of our document output modules actually will streamline the output of, let's call them invoices, the outbound generated documents, very easy and effectively, just by automating the solution to where there's no user intervention. We automatically are capturing the system data. We're merging that with templates that we create, which are electronic templates, and then we're outputting them. So if you have a 1,000-page invoice file that you need to create templates for, we can actually split those up into those individual 1,000 invoices, and we can capture all of those individually as well as auto-index them. No user intervention is needed, and basically what we're doing is we're setting them out there on the network so that our import utility can grab them and automatically import them into Easy Content Manager. Another question that was posed was, does Easy Content Manager provide OCR? And actually we do. Within our import utility, if you have basic documents that are image-based documents, they're not text searchable like maybe some TIFF files that you have out there, we can actually convert those upon import into text searchable PDFs. That way you have a fully text searchable document and it's in PDF format. So they'll be able to open them up in Adobe Reader when a user or let's say a customer opens it up. So we do provide full OCR upon import of documents. If there are any other questions, please feel free to email us or call us directly, and we'll be able to answer those for you. Thanks for joining us, and have a great day.